So apparently my brother and I are dangerous, irresponsible, and should be put in jail.
Yeah, so stick around with us, guys, and we'll explain what's going on. Going on.
Hello, carnivore hunters. My name's Doug.
Hey, and I'm Rick. So, hey, Doug, what kind of music should you listen to while you're fishing?
You know what?
Something catchy.
Jesus.
But
Maybe you should be put in jail. No.
for telling bad jokes. Hey guys, so we wanted to give a shout out to the Carnivore Transformer. He has created this list of YouTubers that talk about carnivore, and by our count, there's at least 228 channels out there, and a lot of our favorite people that we like to watch are on this list, including the carnivore hunters. And in fact, we're so good apparently that somehow we made the list twice. So
yeah, we are pretty spectacular, you have to admit.
But these are only the people talking about their journey. We know there's got to be many, many more out there. Just reading through people's comments and people saying, "Yeah, I've been carnivore X amount of years," and so there's. I wish we knew the true number, how many were out there and how many are benefiting from this lifestyle.
Yeah, me too. Now, we haven't gone through every video on every channel, obviously, but at this point, it's pretty safe for us to assume all of these people are sharing the positive results that they've gained through the carnivore lifestyle, just as we are.
Yeah, in fact, the other day I was thinking about it, and I wanted to know: are there people out there that have quit the carnivore lifestyle because for some reason it wasn't working for them? So I did a YouTube search, and I really couldn't find too many. There were a few out there that had quit, but I think the ones that had, I they seem to have all the same kind of theme. Where it seemed to me that maybe they weren't eating correctly or the right things, or maybe not including enough fat, or maybe even medically for some reason they couldn't do it, which didn't really seem to be the case. But I was just curious and I wanted to know, and I just couldn't find that many.
Yeah. Now, what you do seem to find a surprising amount of is people who used to be vegan or vegetarian have now switched to carnivore. There's quite a few of them out there, and what strikes me with this group is the facial changes that a lot of them go through. When you look at their before and after pictures, um, they just look a lot healthier now. And although they're the same person, to me, I actually like they seem to be more attractive as well after they switch to carnivore. Like their skin just has a brighter glow to it. It's really hard to explain what it is because they're clearly the same person, and it's not like they were ugly before or anything like that. But something about switching to carnivore got them some nutrients that they were severely lacking when they were on their vegan or vegetarian diet, and it shows in their face.
Yeah. So while I was doing this search, I did come across a couple of videos that were really concerning because to me they seemed either totalitarian or the the other guy, and we'll talk about him in a minute here, seemed to cherry pick his uh, case against carnivore. For example, he talked about Joe Rogan's explosive diarrhea,
Mhm.
yet he failed to mention uh, how Rogan just praised all the benefits he got from the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Uh, but let's talk about this other guy first. He's a little more concerning. And I was watching him in a video. He's being interviewed, and he flat out said Dr. Baker should be in jail for pushing the carnivore lifestyle. and I believe he meant it. He wants Dr. Baker in jail. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I like watching the doctors that are pushing the carnivore lifestyle because they produce and show you studies and data. In fact, we're going to talk about a new study here a little later. Um, but so rather than looking at these studies, I would almost guarantee you this guy that wants to throw Dr. Baker in jail hasn't looked at any of the evidence he's produced proving that this is a good lifestyle to lead and having a debate about it, right? Instead he wants to silence him by throwing him in jail. And so I can tell you, I'd love to talk to this guy because my cholesterol is back to normal. I've reversed my type 2 diabetes. I've fixed my liver. I've gotten rid of acid reflux. I'm not arthritic anymore. And keto and all these other diets I've tried in the past did not do that for me. Carnivore has. And so I can tell you without looking at any data, I feel better. And I'm not going to change.
And you never see any kind of responses from these guys that are talking about the carnivore lifestyle to people like us that are saying like, look, these were all my conditions before carnivore, they're all gone now. Explain. And they can never give an answer to that. So it's kind of hard to take them seriously when they don't actually want to debate any facts.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our totalitarian. Let's talk about the cherry pickers here. I watched another video, and this video is a few years old, so maybe some of you have seen it already. It was my first time seeing it, but I almost felt like I could sit there and do one of these reaction videos, which is something that doesn't interest me. But we I guess we're going to kind of do that here. But this guy was talking about how James Blunt uh, quit the carnivore diet, and so as I'm watching this video, I could just pick it apart. So the first issue I noticed is that as this guy's talking about it, is Blunt, by his own admission, was only eating mince, which is ground beef for us Americans. What they didn't tell you is, was it lean? Was it 20/80? Was it 70/30? They don't say. And so my guess is maybe this guy wasn't getting enough fat.
Yeah.
I,
Or
I,
he wasn't getting enough electrolytes or enough salt.
right.
There's
So yeah, they don't talk about his approach to the diet. That it just was ridiculous. The second issue I saw is his Blunt's doctor apparently told him he had symptoms of scurvy and seemed to have a vitamin C deficiency. He didn't. They didn't say he had scurvy. He just had some symptoms. And so many of our carnivore doctors, when you listen to them, will tell you that this is absolute nonsense and it's not the case.
Yeah, we have too many people who've been on the carnivore diet for years and not contracted scurvy.
Yeah,
Uh,
decades.
I mean, yeah, decades. Dr. Baker's on like 7 years now. You see all kinds of people that are just years upon years of not contracting scurvy. So, that it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, and when I'm doing my video searches, why did they quit carnivore diet? None of them said I quit because I got scurvy.
Right.
so, um, so what did James Blunt do to address his vitamin C deficiency? He started drinking OJ, orange juice, and then he developed acid reflux. So, acid reflux occurs when some of the acids go back up into the esophagus and it irritates the lining of the food pipe, and that's what causes the discomfort and the heartburn.
Right. So his response to a low vitamin C rating was to drink a highly processed, sugary, acidic beverage, and then they blame the heartburn on the fact that he was eating meat, that he stopped eating and chugged all this orange juice. So it just doesn't make a whole lot
Yeah.
of sense there. Also, with the vitamin C stuff, and I know Dr. Baker and Dr. Barry could probably explain this much better than I could, uh, but as I understand it, the vitamin C molecule is very similar to the carbohydrate molecule. And what that means for us is when we're consuming a lot of carbohydrates, carbohydrates and vitamin C compete for one another for distribution within our body. So if you're eating a lot of carbs, you have to eat that much more vitamin C just to get the minimal amount that our body actually needs. For those of us that are eating virtually no carbs, even the minuscule amounts of vitamin C that we get from eating our regular meat is going to make it into our body very easily. So there's a lot of evidence out there showing that if you're not eating carbohydrates, you plain don't need as much vitamin C as other people who eat a ton of carbohydrates.
Yeah, and so the next thing he tried to do in his video is my understanding is for a long time Dr. Baker didn't do any lab work. He just trusted he was in good health. I guess I don't know, just making an assumption, but when he finally did decide to go and do a lab and share it with the world, um, he had a few highs and lows on his labs, as we all do when we go get lab work done. But he decided to pick on Dr. Baker for low testosterone. Right. So this is one test, not multiple tests. It's one test, and and he's trying to pick it apart. Well, guess what? When Dr. Baker went back and got his labs redone, his testosterone came back into the normal range. So it was just
Yeah.
cherry picking the bad. And
And for somebody who's as fanatical about working out as he is, those kind of fluctuations in testosterone's not unheard of anyway. And
yeah,
I'm sure
he
this guy didn't bother to go and, update his video when Dr. Baker's labs got came back normal the second time.
yeah, and Dr. Baker actually talks about that, Doug, where whenever you go get lab work done, there's so many variables that are going to make a difference in your labs. It's, when did you eat last? How much sleep did you get? What time of day are you getting the labs done? And so there's all these variables that can make a difference in the results you get back from your labs. Um, so then he went into Rogan's explosive diarrhea. We already talked about that, so I'll move on. The last thing I have, though, problem number 6. He claims that Rogan supporting this lifestyle is irresponsible. So here we go again, right? He didn't say silence, but I think there's an underlying message there. But throw him in jail or silence him, pull his platform. Who knows what this guy is trying to do? It's just, again, you're not looking at the data they're looking at, but you don't want to have a conversation or a debate about. Well, you can't have a debate about it because you haven't read the study.
Yeah. And Rogan's so into fitness. He found the carnivore lifestyle similar to the way a lot of us did. He's actually interviewed Dr. Baker and Saladino and I think a few of the other guys, and he decided to give it a shot. And he found a benefit in it, just like we all did. And all he's done is talked about what that's done for him. Um, and to try to silence that's completely even anti-First Amendment. I mean, if you're a supporter of the First Amendment, you have to support someone you do not like saying something that you disagree with. That's what the First Amendment's about. Because if you support that, then later on, somebody can't come back after you when the people who don't like you are in charge.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, and also, we're going to include in the link here. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Dr. Baker does have a new video out on lean mass hyperresponders. Uh, it, if you're seeing us, you've probably seen this video, but if you haven't, we highly recommend it. We'll put that video and link in the bottom as well. We think it's really important. There's going to be a lot of new data coming out, or there is a lot of new data coming out talking really about we need to rethink how we view cholesterol.
Yep. Yeah, guys. So I think that's all we have, right, Doug?
Yeah, I think that was it for today. I mean, you know, please like and subscribe, and send us a care package if we do end up in jail after all of this. But
yeah, and maybe we'll see some of our fellow YouTubers in jail. We might share a cell with Dr. Baker. Who knows? So,
right.
um, yeah, and hit that notification, guys.
Alrighty. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yep. Have a good one.